Greetings and salutations, my friends. Hello, how is everyone today? Good, I hope. I hope that it's cooler than it is here, because holy tamale, it's so hot in Arizona. Okay. Is everybody ready to paint? I hope. Let's see. Okay. So, I'm thinking that I would like to paint. I had this dream last night of this idea. So let's see how it works out. But I'm thinking I want to paint one of the individual flower from the Lucinda set. This is the thing that I love about my paintables, not just to brag about me or anything, but you can, I have this clipboard that I just paint on every now and again when I'm just feeling like I want to do something, and I just have a couple of different things here. So I have the Sakura, I have the Lauren, and I have the Tessa. And yes, this one printed terrible, but you know I can't waste, so I printed it on the other side. And then, but the sentiments, you can use any of the sentiments on any of the, in conjunction with anything, right? So that's what I kind of, in my head, I have this idea. So I wanted to talk about color mixing a little bit today. Is anybody here? Hello. So if you feel so inclined, you can grab your printables and paint along with me. So I am kind of digging orange and pink. Like those are kind of my new jams. So I'm going to take some of my pink out here and put it on my palette. Right? Get some water, add some water to that so it's nice and watery. Then I'm just going to put a really light wash of pink on the petals of this Lucinda poppy. Right? And I just try to be really kind of loosey-goosey with that first layer of paint. And just kind of let that dry. But remember, over here, this is a bud. So we're going to make sure that we paint that. And then this is a leaf. So I have this, do you see I have some mixed paint on here already? So this green is kind of a, who knows what I mixed, but I just really liked it. So I'm going to come in and add some water to that. And then I'm just going to come in and do that first layer of green on the leaves that go with the flower. And I know it always looks kind of dull when we first start, but remember we're going to build and build and build on that. Here we go. Right, this is our first, just our first washy layer. Just gonna, there we go, right? So we have a little bit, everybody got that idea? And now I think I want to, I'm gonna wash off my brush and come into the yellow for my stamen. I'm gonna bring some water over there, nice, because we want it to be barely yellow. Because I want to add some of that green to this yellow. So we're gonna let that dry, right? And then I'm gonna come in with some of the orange. Does anybody have any questions, or are you just painting along with me? Hi, Annalisa. How are you? And Olga and Carmen. Awesome. I hope you're painting along with me. So I'm just gonna mix up some watery orange up here, and do you see how it's kind of mixing in with the pink? And that's kind of giving me this really pretty coral. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to dab that in. And by adding a second color, you're going to add depth to your floral leaves. It's not going to be as flat. And we're just doing that. And look at this one, I pulled some of that yellow, so that's kind of pretty. We're just going to do that squiggly, pouncy painting style. And this paper will wrinkle a little bit, but once it's dry, you can flatten it out in between two books, or you can put a paper towel over it and iron it, but I don't do that. My husband would freak out, and he's home all the time now, so I can't do any of that. But when he was traveling, you know I did that. So I'm going to come back in, rinse off my brush, and then make a damp brush, and then just soften those edges little by little, right? So it just looks like it just kind of turns into the pink. The orange just kind of turns into the pink. What is everybody else painting today? I'm dying to know. Hello. Hey Judy, I use, these are, it used to be called Prima Marketing, and they were called watercolor confections. Now it's the same paint, they've just called their paint division Art Philosophy, and this is the classic set, and I use it, well, obviously you can tell, I use it so much. And the way, and what I tell people is whatever paint set you have, just keep using it, because you're gonna learn this. You're gonna learn whatever your paint set is, you're gonna learn its capabilities, how much you can push this or pull that. You're gonna learn how much drying time you need, and how much what papers it works best with. So that's my recommendation. And all of my supplies come from my local scrapbook store, Scraps of Love, which is in Peoria, Arizona. So I had a little bit of bluey green here on my palette, so I'm just going to come in with that on the veins of my leaves. And remember, we're just going to let it sit for a minute, and then we're going to pounce it out. And then I'm going to also do like those crevices where two things meet. Remember, we talked about where two things meet, there's going to be a shadow in there, and that's an easy way to build up some depth, right? So we're going to kind of let those dry. Oops. Oh, Judy, it is. Which printable are you using? You can print whatever, you can use whatever you want. All of my little tricks and tips work with everything. But I'm just curious which printable you're using. Judy Ports. All right, so now, remember I said I wanted to, so I'm going to rinse my brush again, remember, and I'm going to dry it on my paper towel. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit of this funky green, and I'm just going to tap. So it's just random. You don't want it to be like I painted every third circle green. You just want to come in and tap some color in there, right? And we're going to let that dry. All right, let's come in with some more pink. I'm going to mix it with that orangey pink that we already kind of have, so we can deepen it. Honest to Pete, I am having the hardest time getting the comments up. Yay! Yay! I'm so glad. Lucinda, that's perfect. It's perfect for today, right? And there's nice big petals, so those are kind of fun to paint because the petals are big. My Debbie printable also has pretty big petals, and the Sakura. But I have some other ones that are in my noggin that are on their way. Oh, and the Tessa one, the Columbine, that also has pretty big petals, and those are fun to paint. So I'm going to come down in here close to the stamen and build up that color. But this one, I'm trying to not touch any of that green because then we'll get a little bit, but that will be all right. I mean, we'll fix it if we do, but I'm trying to avoid. So I came in here and I deepened this kind of almost like corally, pinky, orangey, right? And now down at the base, right? At the base of the flower that's like this, right? The stamen is here and the flower petals come up. But then we're also going to do some up here in these places where I did some stippling. We've talked about this before. Here, here, here. And you might come up these little kind of organic bends in the petals and just like barely touch your paintbrush. And as we pounce those out, you'll start to see the depth grow. But really, like, mix two colors today. I'm telling you, your flowers will come to life so much more if you mix two colors. So that's today's technique, is color mixing. And I like to color mix, well, today I should say, because you know what, tomorrow I can tell you a different story. But today, hi Barbara Meyer, hi Debbie Miller. Are you with your friends, Lucinda and Joni? If you mix colors, your painting won't look flat at all. And you have these original colors that only you created, right? And if you mix colors, I will say, make sure that you kind of mix a pretty big puddle, because you're always going to need kind of more than you think you will. And then we're just going to, once it's dry, right, we're going to come back in and pounce. And can you see there? Can you see, is that blurry or can you see it? I don't know. You're going to pounce out that. Is that too close? Is that okay? You're gonna pounce out that edge, and it just gets super gradual. And do you see how like that you already see like just the painting process here, this, you're good too, Barbara. It just takes lots of practice. Here, this is light and that's gonna look raised, right? And this is dark, and so it's going to look like the petal goes down over here. So you're just going to remember a damp brush is your friend when you're blending out, just softening that edge, right? Sorry. It's not the Rona. I just have a dry throat. Let's see. So take some of this green here, add a little water. We're going to take it right from the pan. We're going to come back in here, deepen it down in here. Watercolors, I find, are just all about doing slow layers. The more deliberate and slow your layers, the more depth you'll have. And that's kind of the key when you're painting. You're just going to want it to have a little bit more depth. Right? So like this one, we can take this green here that we're painting. I'm so glad, Barbara, I'm so glad you caught me. So I'm going to take a little bit of this turquoise and pat it down here, and then I'm just going to mix some of this green with that. Like try to do equal amounts. And you're just going to get a little bit of a depth. A deeper shade, right? Just play and experiment. I mean, that's the beauty of a printable, right? You can print them as many times as you want. So we're just gonna add some more water to that, and then we're gonna kind of come in here and maybe do add some here, down that vein. Okay. And dry my brush. So we're going to let that sit for a little bit. Then we're going to come back over to the petals. I feel like I want a little more pink in there. I kind of want the pink and the orange to really play well together. So I'm going to mix more pink, but into that same corally pink that we started with. Because it's looking pretty orangey now, so we're going to come back in. Maybe we'll come up this side. And come up here, and here, and here. Like, do you notice that up here, there's hardly any color at all? And that's cool because that's going to lots of good like highlights and lowlights and depths and shadows. You want it to be, you don't want it to be one solid color. Isn't that right, Joni? I know she's watching. And she's an unbelievable watercolor artist. I pick her brain all the time about everything. About color combinations, about tools and tricks and tips. That's what we do, right? Everybody can't know everything. So you want to like ask your friends to help you out. Like, what did you use with that? And how did you do that? Okay, so we're gonna let those dry because it had another, and then, oh, you know what though? We need to add some more to this little bud. Poor little neglected bud. So we're gonna add a little bit more pink. And let that sit. Rinse and dry. Hi Tessa Reed, how are you, my darling? Denise, I am using, they used to be called Prima Marketing watercolor confections, but now, so this is an old set and these are the classics. They're now called Art Philosophy, but it's the exact same company and the exact same paints. So I believe that they are Everything's the same. It's just a different division. Like they divided it out into the paint division. That's all. So, and you can mix. If you got this set of paints, you'd be able to paint for years. I've been painting with this same set forever and a day because I just keep mixing colors, mixing colors, mixing colors. And that's going to add to your palette like nobody's business. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse, right? And I'm going to tap off. And then I'm going to come back in here, and these bits that we painted with the darker green and the blue and green mix, we're just going to come back in and soften those edges with that pounce, right? Sometimes I go in one direction, sometimes another. Whatever gives me the look that I'm going for. I just want it to be that beautiful gradual gradation of color. So same thing, I dipped my brush in water, rinsed it off, and then dried it on my towel and came back. Right? This takes a little time, but I'm telling you, the more time you take with your watercolors, the happier you'll be with your results. So let's see, where are we? Ooh, the Anna T is so pretty. That one's named after my grandma, my sweet Gram, and it's pansies because she always had pansies growing in her front garden, in her flower bed under her front windows. And they just always remind me of her, and they're so pretty. My mother-in-law says the flowers with a face for pansies. I thought that was so cute. So we're just going to keep softening, painting on layers and then softening the edges, painting on layers and then softening the edges. I know it seems like a lot, but it's not really. And I will tell you, the stress eating effects of watercoloring are fabulous, right? Okay, so that's that. And now we could come back in, we can add a little bit more blue to this, right? And we can come and deepen up some of these little crevices, like right here. Do you see where that V of the vein is? That might be a good place to add a little bit of more color, right? And we're going to let this sit while we go back to work on our flower petals. Any place where you think there might like naturally be a dip in the leaf, like here, here. Okay, we're gonna let that sit. Are you gonna do it in purples, Tessa? All right, so let's go one more round of that pinky coral. I'm gonna add a little more water. Come back in. Right, and just little by little adding that color. Building, 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 building color. there'll be so much more visual interest in your flowers if you mix more than one color, and then mix like this. I did pinks and orange, right? But I continued to build up the pink and then build up the orange and then build up the pink and then build up the orange, so that they both play really well together. I mean, you could do it with purple and blue. You could do it with, let's see. Sorry, I got all deep in my pouncing. With blue and green, that would be pretty, like we did here with these leaves. So we're gonna come back to the leaves. We're gonna do that pounce method. We're gonna rinse our brush and then come at and dry it. So we come back with a damp brush. I'm just gonna pounce out that edge. You know what, I'm looking at this and it looks like I should have done here. So I'm gonna come back in, add a little bit of that bluey green, right? Maybe I should do a little bit over here too. I mean, that's the beauty, right? It's my painting. I can do whatever a ding dang please. How are we doing on time? Can somebody tell me what time it is? 2:27, okay. Because I have this idea that I thought of in my sleep last night, and I want to make sure that I share with you using these printables that I thought, oh, that's so cool. And I kept telling myself, you know when you're in that weird, half dreamy, half sleepy moment, I kept telling myself, you need to save that on Instagram. That was like, no, it's not on Instagram, it's in your head. You just have to trust yourself to remember. So I'm trusting myself to remember all of my steps that I did in my noggin. Soften that edge there. Oh, I love it. It's so pretty. I'm just loving it. Come on. So pretty. Add a little bit more of that pinky corally color up here. Is everybody staying with me? Am I boring anyone yet? Okay, I'm going to do this pinky coral, and then I'm going to show you my idea that I thunk up in my noggin in the middle of the night last night. Just deepening that pink. And then we're going to set it aside. Okay, so I have this flower that I painted last week, or maybe the week before, I don't know. And so here's what I was thinking. You know those stamps that are it's like a line and then there's maybe some flowers above it, right? Sort of a bordery thing. So I'm thinking, why couldn't you do something similar with one of my flowers? And we could just, in this one, I still have to paint the center. So you guys will just have to kind of go along with me. Right? So we're just gonna line it up right here, right? And cut it in half, right? And then I'm gonna fussy cut. So now let's talk about something interesting, because now I'm you're not bored. Okay, yay, I'm glad. You know, okay, so we're gonna fuzzy cut this side. I want to fuzzy cut both of them, but this is my big idea. So I'm gonna, I'll show you the basic idea, and then I'll finish the card and post it on my Instagram. So be sure to look for it on my Instagram or my Facebook later on today. Because I do have this big idea, and I was like, oh my gosh. Then you know how one idea kind of lends itself to another idea and another idea and another idea. And then you see like a friend do a cool technique and you're like, oh, how can I make that work for me? How can I play with that idea? So I have a new idea for Thursday's paint along using my paintables or my art printables and distress inks. Something cool I saw. I know this is a little boring watching me cut this. But I'm almost done, and you get the idea. Did I lose everybody yet? Watching me cut. Because once I show you this, I promise you, you guys are gonna once I promise you, once I show you this, I think, I mean, and this is just my thinking I'm fabulous, but I think that once we start this idea, we're gonna go till the cows come home. Okay, so I'm taking a black card base, right? Just crease it. And then I'm gonna take a piece of this washi tape. And this is Carpe Diem. You know what? I don't even know. Look, don't you find things that you love and so then you think that we should have them for all time? Okay, so I'm gonna overshoot the edges because then I can cut a nice clean edge, right? So I'm gonna trim the edges of this washi. Right? And then my idea is to go this down, but I want to paint in the center, but you kind of get the idea. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was on this art paintable, this You Make My Heart Happy, I'm thinking you could cut this out and have it be up here. And then you could, I have all manner of doodads that I could, or I could do this, the other art printables. Because what are my Lucinda, messages? I don't remember. But anyway, do you see what I'm saying? Do you know those? You could do it with more than one, right? You could do it, so it's just this border print of loveliness, I think. But this one, shut up, it's gonna be so pretty, right? But this one I think, so what does everybody think? Do they think it's fabulous or do you think it's dumb? Hi, Pat Stein. How you doing, sis? Well, Carmen. Let's just make it simple and we'll get the Lucinda again. We'll use a Lucinda. It'll just be easier. So this one, it looks like I need to paint the centers. Oh, you are fussy cutting. Oh, yay, yay, yay. Me too. Me too, me too. Right? So we're going to come in here with some yellow and let it sit. Come in here with some yellow and let it sit. Because I'm thinking for this one, I want to add some orange, because this one I mixed reds and pinks together to create these petals. So while we're letting that dry, oh, we could come in here with some of this, with this bluey green. I will, Annalisa, I'll post it on my Instagram and my Facebook later on today. But do you kind of get where I was going with it? Those stamps that have like a base, right? Like the washi tape will kind of serve as the base, right? Everybody's got washi tape. And think about it, you could build this up as much as you want, right? This is just going to be this is like the most rudimentary version of it. What if you you could have a white card base and then just have a little black, and then you could have something else behind it, right? You could have a watercolory background. You could, I mean, you could do all kinds of things, right, to this card base. You can get as in depth as you wish. My friend Lucinda is the queen of that. She always picks perfect colors and perfect patterns and always just the right touch to add depth and dimension to her cards. And that pays off because her cards are beautiful. And it helps to have friends that you can just keep learning from, right? So I'm thinking I'm going to go with this more olivey green. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here, but hello, Pat. I wish you were sitting here at my kitchen table so we could craft together. That would be fun, wouldn't it? That would be fun. We could just paint the day away. That would be a blast. I just want to show you all kinds of things that you can do with these art printables, that they're so, I think they're the most versatile, that that you can take that one piece of art and make a bunch of other pieces of art. Look at that, so pretty. So now I'm going to take a little bit of orange, I think. Put it up here on my palette and add it to that stamen, like little bits. And do it on this one too. Remember, we're just pouncing it in there, so it's just kind of randomly in there, and it's just going to add some depth, right? Dry off on our paper towel, wash our brush, dry off on our paper towel. It's like I'm a broken record. I just keep saying the same things over and over again. Some of that bluey green. Let that kind of dry. So let's work on Lucinda on Thursday, and I'm going to show you some another something you can do, another technique, and then we'll make another card. How's that sound? Does that sound like a good plan? Everyone, let's add some orange to this one. I just kind of keep a bunch going all at the same time. So then I can just build little by little by little. This one I'm adding a little bit of pink, like the brightest pink from my palette. And I'm using a skinny brush. I think this is a 1. Yep. It's a connoisseur, which I called conquistador for the longest time. Who knows where I got that from? But anyway, I love these brushes, and they're not super expensive. They just hold their snap. And they come in a nice variety of round sizes. I like the smaller ones more than anything. So this is a 1. I think I have a 2 up here. That's a 0. This is a 6. So that's what I like to do like my backgrounds with. They just have a nice bristle. They're all synthetic. I kind of like it a little bit splotchy though, because I feel like that gives it some nice depth. So I'm thinking I want to come in the center of that stamen and give it a little bit of that peachy, corally. I'm doing the center, and then those little spokes that kind of poke out from the center. That's pretty. I don't know if everybody can see that. Oh, I can't tell you what artist it's going to be, Annalisa, but it'll be fabulous. And I think I might be coming to you from a remote location. So it'll be fabulous. There. So can you see how those blues and I don't know how close I am. How it's still a little bit splotchy. I kind of personally like that because I feel like it adds more depth and look of a natural flower. After my paint is dry, I don't have a white, well, maybe I do in this little bag of tricks. I do. I come in with my white Signo, and maybe I will always prime your Signo, like your gel pens, always prime them on another sheet of paper. And remember, the trick with gel pens is you barely touch your paper and you move really slow. If you just are deliberate in your markings with your gel pen, I know that was off screen, but seriously, this is all I was doing, was just on a little piece that I cut off, my fussy cut piece. You're just going to prime it, get the ink flowing, and then just like barely touching your paper, and go super slow. If you go slow with your, oh, that's blurry. Anyway, then I come back in here, and I'm just gonna, every now and again, color one of these circles. You see these random circles, right? And then maybe we had a little line, and a dot, but like barely, right? We don't want it to overpower our pretty colors that we worked so hard to put on. But you see, when you barely touch, it's almost like I'm purposefully having it skip, and I think that's gonna give you nice nice depth. Let's give you a nice highlight, because you don't want it to look like a straight line. That's not going to be cute, and that's our goal, right? So we're going to little by little add little bits of white, right? Let's see. Am I missing anyone talking? Right, so then, but then we can, so once it's kind of where we want it to be, right, we can add our white. Remember, we can use, there's a couple of different things we can do, right? We can add white gel pen. We can use our white, if you happen to have Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white, that's quite fabulous, and it leaves it won't bleed at all. And we can also take our brush and get some black, right? And this will add some more depth too. And then we're just gonna wet it on our palette. And then you're just gonna, right? So then we're just, there we go. And then we're gonna let that dry. And then we can fussy cut this one and do another card just like it. So do you see how that random splatter, I'm telling you, it's gonna take your card to the next level. It's so fabulous. So Annalisa, just know for for Saturday's class, you need your watercolors, your art journal, same things as always. Colored pencils if you have them, a pencil, an eraser, and your black waterproof pens. I'm going to splatter these with black too. Because why not? Right? Ugh, I just love that. Okay, so now I'm going to let everything dry, and then I'm going to build a card, and I will post it later today on my Instagram and hey Carolyn, my Instagram and my Facebook and Corbiere-Scott Designs. I hope everybody is having a painty day. It's a good thing to do on a hot day. I don't know where in the country you are. Well, Annalisa, you're in Texas, so. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you love the Statue of Liberty. That's so. A couple of my friends are, they did their Statue of Liberty with curly hair like mine. Crazy girls. And one has beautiful white blonde hair, and one has beautiful red hair. Whatever. Anyway, I think you'll like this week's, artist and project just as much as, hi Jan Schwartz, how are you? Gosh, I think about you often. What a crazy world we live in right now, right? Anyway, so meet me here on Thursday because we're going to show you another cool thing that you can do with my art printables. And then remember on Saturday, so on Thursday, make sure you bring your distress inks and some, hey Rebecca Marco, I was just bragging about your, last weekend, I was bragging about your clutter keeper. I keep all of my design work in here, so then I kind of see it. I miss too. I keep my design work in here, so I have, I can see what, I'm a person who needs to see what the next thing is, or I forget. I know myself. Anyway, so Thursday we're going to do the Lucinda. I love that phone holder too. And the what's the other thing, Lucinda? The thing for the stamp cleaner. I love that thing. I love it, love it, love it. And Rebecca well, I'll show that on Thursday's class maybe. On Thursday's class, remember we're going to have use our Lucinda art printable and our distress inks, and we're going to use you're going to need to bring your blending, a chamois case. There you go, there you go. We're going to use blending tools, so make sure you bring blending tools. 2 o'clock Arizona time, Rebecca. 2 o'clock Arizona time. And then Saturday, we're going to do another artist in our art journal. We're going to do a little art study and then do some art inspired by that artist. And that's at noon Arizona time. So you're going to need your art journal and your watercolors, all the regular stuff. Your black pens, waterproof pens, round brushes, a water cup, a paint cloth or paper towel. What else do I have? Colored pencils if you have them. Anyway, we'll have ourselves a time, girls. We always do. So I'm gonna let these dry and then go for a swim and come back and build a card, and I'll post it, I promise, on my Instagram and my Facebook. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, girls. Thank you so, so, so much.